Back in here, Rick, I was just citing the scientist who developed AstraZeneca's vaccine in England. He said there's nothing that will stop transmission, and that's Sir Andrew Pollard. He said we got to stop reporting infections. You can't keep changing everything, including elections, all the time. With Facebook and Twitter and everything else that's happening, you almost get the feeling, now this could get our newscast in trouble, I guess, that Facebook and Twitter are at war with America. Rick?
Man, I tell you, put this in context. This is a United States senator that they are banning from speaking his mind, from sharing scientific studies. They banned the president of the United States. I mean, this is mind-boggling. This is while they allow for terrorists to get on there and say whatever they want. This is while they allow for all kinds of sexual deviancy and other things, and they have no problems with that not violating their community standards. I mean, this is a wake-up call to the American people. We've got to stop trusting these big tech giants. And when I say trusting them, it's by our actions that we trust them when we continue to use them as our source. I'm so glad Rand Paul's going over to Rumble. I think Rumble's a great place for people to start switching over to. It's a place where free speech is allowed. But Greg, you nailed it. I mean, these are top scientists that are sharing these things and then being banned. The most, quoted people, quoted doctors, Peter McCullough and others like that. We have attorneys that are simply giving their opinion on the statutes about the emergency authorization. We got pulled down from YouTube at our Wall Builders Live channel because of simply talking about the legalities of the statute with Matt Staver. It's just a really dangerous time. I think Rand Paul's right. It's incredibly dangerous when you muzzle the opposition, because then you're not able to correct the mistakes. Everybody's human. Yeah. Everybody's going to make mistakes. That's why the arena of ideas is a good thing, because it keeps us on our toes.
Rick, most conservatives and Christians now say they actually trust their state legislatures and governors to protect their rights more so than the federal government. And it's funny to me that Joe Biden uses words like transparency and disingenuous. You can't make this stuff up, can you, Rick?
No, look, I mean, the hypocrisy, the literally saying one thing and doing another. The good thing is that is causing exactly what you just said, a shift of who we trust and where we want the power to be. And we've been calling for that for really 2 decades since we've been doing Constitution classes, is that the power needs to shift from the federal government to the states, for the same reasons that the Founding Fathers set it up that way. They said you can hold your state officials accountable a lot faster than you can your federal officials, and you always want the power to be as close to home as possible. And of course, for the last 80 years, we've let that power be concentrated in Washington, D.C. It's completely run amok at this point. And so thankfully, there's a movement in America where people realize we want to shift that power back from the feds to our state and our local officials and let them be the ones making these kind of decisions. And I hope that movement continues.
When I ran for state senate in California, I would bring up Article 10 of the Constitution. They looked at me like I was speaking a foreign language. Rick, what is it, real quick?
Well, that all power not specifically given to the federal government. In other words, if it's not listed in the Constitution, they don't have it. It's left to the people and the states. And that's a concept that's been lost for decades, Greg. I'm so glad that you brought people's attention to that. And that's what we need more and more of, which is why we encourage people to take our Constitution classes, learn what the proper enumerated powers of the federal government are, and then learn how to use the Constitution to save the Constitution.
And that's one of the things that my Republican opponent in the primary used against me. Isn't that interesting? Rick Green, thanks for being with us today. Most of all, thank you for watching Victory News as well.